We are the keepers of the flame, the sacred order. Let the ceremony begin.
And today, faithful acolytes, we take a look at this. And what this is from Uncle Chainsaw's Hot Sauce, which is a pretty fun name. We have Scassa La Bocca. Now that means wreck the mouth, smash the mouth, crack the mouth, that type of thing. However, so the implication is that it would be very, very hot, but we have Calabrian chilies. And this is how it goes. We got this sort of cool death metal logo here. Metal horns. I like that motif. And this one, let's not get too nasty. Refrigerator after opening. Let's not get too gnarly. Best by date. Oh, that's cute. I like that. There is not a best by date on this. And this is $12. Usually I don't get into pricing, and I'm going to here very briefly for a specific reason later. First, though, the idea with this is that everything is imported from Italy. So we have Calabrian chilies. That's probably imported. We have white balsamic vinegar, probably. The idea of the sunflower seed oil, unless they came packed in oil, maybe that's what they're meaning. Marinated garlic, so olives, capers, tomatoes, spices, natural flavors, and acetic acid. So apparently the garlic comes with all this stuff in it. And so the olives and capers, that's the surest way to win me over out of the gate. Water and spice is rounds it out. So is the water from Italy? I doubt it. Spice is meaningless. It doesn't actually say what it is. So not a great ingredient label, just to be flatly honest with you guys here. But we can see we definitely have the sort of creaminess that hot sauces, when they have oil, sort of take on that aspect, I feel like, pretty consistently. So, okay, so real briefly, and I talked about this a little bit more in length in the written review, which is a link to that's available in the description down below. But this particular sauce did not come, like, a lot of this was empty. I would say this is actually under 4 ounces. Now, the problem with that, as I also mentioned in that review, is $12, 4 ounces, you're $3 an ounce. So I did a video. It's in the random playlist. I tried to make it as short, but I didn't get that right. But anyway, in that video, I actually measured out where each fluid ounce level would be 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. This one, I would say, was definitely below 4. And so what happens is that the closer you get to 3, you're changing the dynamic. And so instead of going for $3 an ounce at 4 ounces, you're going to 3 ounces where it's $4 an ounce. And if it was actually 5 ounces in here, right? 5 ounces, you're closer to the $2 price point. So the cost per ounce nearly doubles when you have a lot of space in these bottles. And I know this is a newer company, and they're still, I think, trying to find their footing a little bit. But that is a thing that is not good to have happen. And I hate to talk about that. I really don't like discussing sauce pricing a lot. Like, I try not to do it very much. But there are some times when I feel like it's unavoidable. With this sauce, it is one of them. You can see there's a lot of bits and pieces in there. You see some tomatoes, little chunks of either garlic or the olives, or some of the darker ones might be the capers. It looks really good. Like, it's a slick looking sauce. But I think very clearly it is meant to be an Italian oriented sauce. So let's get into this. First thing I get is olives and capers. And what is that? A little bit of the chiles, a little bit of the garlic. Very nice. I like this sauce quite a lot. I could have actually done with a little bit more olives, but and there's a lot of oregano in there, a lot of the type of Italian spices that you would expect. It reminded me a little bit of a spaghetti sauce in a way with some of those other elements to it, which is it makes it a touch confusing. Actually, I think this would be fantastic on spaghetti. This is one of the few things that I think goes really well with the sort of pasta dishes with the marinaras and whatnot. I don't, however, find it all that good on pizza, oddly enough. Now, I love olives on pizza. Green olives on a pizza. I don't even care what kind of pizza it is. I'll take it automatically. I love green olives. That's one of my favorite things in this world. And this, though, the mix of it just didn't work for me very well on pizza. It wasn't bad or anything. It just was kind of something I wished I wouldn't have had. The Calabrian chilies are very, very tame. I had a very minor, brief flash of heat. And, I mean, it's already just gone me just jibber-jabbering here. So, I like the idea behind this sauce, I think, more than the actual sauce. If that makes sense. I think there's a lot of promise here, but I think this recipe also needs to be fine-tuned a little bit. And I would, so personally for me, I think I would move away from some of those spices because I think those are intruding a little bit. And I would just kind of let the ingredients, I think, breathe. I think you'd have a much more well-rounded sauce. But it is very interesting for what it is. It's very novel. There's not a lot of sauces out there like this. I'll applaud for that, you know. I mean, I like the heavy metal motif. I think that is very cool. I find it a little bit puzzling with this tame of a pepper, and I really don't understand this skull with the... I don't understand what's going on with this skull, actually. It's... it looks like there's some fire here, but then there's also like this is... Is this the tongue circling around the head with... It looks like there's horns of some type or something. I don't know. This is a very baffling skull picture. It's cool. It's very metal, but it is a touch confusing. So what I have here is a Jersey Mike's Italian sub. I think there's like 5 or 6 different Italian meats on it. So I thought that would be probably a pretty good test of things. And we're going to... unfortunately, they assembled this kind of stupidly. But that's all right. We're going to throw this right down the center, the old pipe here, right on the pepperoni, as it were. Very mild sauce, so I'm going to use a lot of it here, and I might throw some on there for a dipping sauce as well. I am running a touch low on this in the bottle, of course, because I started out with the low amount in the bottle. I do like this sauce. I don't always like it with stuff, though, which makes it a little challenging to use, other than on something like, you know, chicken tendies. But let's give this a go and see where we're at. I didn't get any other oils or any of their spices or vinegars or anything. I really wanted the sauce to be able to stand by itself here. I had high hopes for it as a sandwich condiment, and I think it's living up to that very well. loaded me up on the sandwich. I appreciate that. This is fantastic on this sandwich. So if you get a bottle and keep it for nothing but sandwiches, specifically Italian sandwiches, that might be the right idea. I do think it would be good on spaghetti, but I don't. It's too hot right now for me to make it. And there's no canned varieties or frozen varieties I like. I'm trying to find a restaurant that doesn't use onions in their sauce is a little bit of a challenge. It's a little touch of the messy side. As you are no doubt observing. I think the oil works pretty well here. I think they must compact in oil, so I guess the oil is from Italy as well. But I think it kind of smooths out a lot of the edges here. One of the things about Italian dishes is I think one of the reasons they don't always work well with sauces is they're not meant to have sauces added to them. They're really meant to be standalones. Whereas with the approach for a lot of American food is I think it's more of a base building. You build a base with solid but relatively bland food so that you can use different condiments to customize it a little bit to what your preference is. Getting a little bit of heat now, which is interesting. This doesn't have any emulsifiers or suspending agents in it, so. You know, the other thing I don't like about this, I'm gonna bitch about the label for a minute. With this sauce, you can see it sticks to the sides pretty well of this glass, and I can't easily tell how much is left in this. I think it's probably pretty close to just the neck at this point, maybe a little bit more. The neck for about here up to about here is about 1 fluid ounce, give or take. You guys check out that video if you want to see it. So I'm whipping through this sauce in a hurry. It's a good sauce. It's just a bit narrow for where I think it works. And I think actually if I would have got a restaurant pizza, I think this probably would have worked better on. Frozen pizzas, I didn't like it. And I mean, I think you could, it feels like a high-end sauce. It tastes like it. And that's why I don't want to put it on like frozen pasta dishes either, because it's kind of a waste of a good sauce. The sauce has a lot of impressive ingredients in it that, and I mean, I think overall, it's a pretty strong start. Like I said, I think it needs to be fine tuned a little bit, but it is pretty impressive for me anyway. Probably because it caters to my taste pretty specifically. If you don't like green olives and you don't like capers as much as I do, this might not be a sauce you really enjoy. Like I said, the heat is really minimal. Calabrian chilies are really about flavor, though. They're not out here trying to melt faces. The branding, I thought, when I first heard of them, that's what they were going for. But then they put out like really fairly expensive high-end stuff like this. Go figure, I guess. This is excellent on these sandwiches. Just tremendous. The right blend of the meats. Salami or pepperoni, prosciuttos, capicolas. Dynamite. With this sauce. I've had their Italian before, and it's fine as far as the cold sandwich goes, but this is a whole new level of elevation. Make sure I don't have any straight bullshit in here. Excellent. Where and when this does work, I will say it works extremely well. You know, with green olives, I think you're naturally going to limit what it's going to work with because it's a fairly strong flavor. But then, when you add in the Italian spices also, it narrows it, I think, a little bit further. So if I were them, I would definitely retool both what spices and how many are going in this. Caught a stray onion there. Why I don't go to sandwich shops a lot. They're just not careful enough. They put the bins next to each other. You get in a hurry, you get shit slopping over the side. Okay. And we got this settled enough. Yeah, I think I probably have right around an ounce left, give or take. One of the other reasons, one of the other things with this is that because there's so much oil in this, it flows really weirdly. So when it was cooler, when I had just taken it out of the fridge, it was syrup slow. molasses, you know. Now that it's warming up, it's a lot more viscous. It's a fun sauce, though. I'll say that. I think I've talked pretty much at length about this. I would, like I said, I would dial down the Italian spices in there, and I think the bottling thing is probably just going to improve with experience. So I want to forgive them that. If this would have been sitting too long, though, this bottle, it probably would have been pretty close to unusable. As it was, there were some struggles with it. But I was really pleased that the sauce wasn't bad, because this is a really interesting sauce. It's pretty fantastic. Again, very narrow in scope, though. Where the places where this is good is, for me anyway, it's just fairly narrow, and that's a shame, because I like what they're doing with this a lot. I like a lot of this stuff. I wish they would fix this label, though. I mean, you're not losing anything if you just cut, you know, like a 1/4 inch stripe right there. You're not losing anything. You can make these nutritional facts too is like the biggest thing on this label. Why? Nobody cares about this nutritional facts. Like, you can make that small. No hot sauce buyers are even looking at that, I guarantee it, other than me occasionally, to see if there's calories and how many, or if something's particularly salty, to see just how far over the daily value it's going to be. Right? Just curiosity stuff. Nobody is buying on the nutritional facts label. They are buying on the ingredients. That's for sure. But I think if you compress this and you put that stripe in there, especially for this kind of sauce where it's a high-end sauce, having that there gives you an appropriate gauge to know when it's time to head to the store and go find another bottle. So I would say a couple minor changes, and I think this thing is probably going to, you know, it goes up another 1 or 2 points overall. As it is, very strong first effort. For me, it needs a little bit of fine-tuning, but very strong first effort, and I like their approach a lot. So, I don't know, this is a Utah company, I believe. I don't know how far their reach is outside of there, other than if you go to Burn Your Tongue online, I believe you can probably order it from there. I don't know what reach it would have outside of that, though. But definitely, if this is something you're interested in, the Calabrian chilies, a little bit of the garlic and olive and caper blend, well worth looking into, maybe just for the uniqueness factor alone. But it is also, in the right application, very delicious. And we'll just leave it there. So that is the Uncle Chainsaw's Scassa La Bocca hot sauce. Now go forth in peace. Serve the flame.